If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could have a motion to approve the agenda as it was presented.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Oh, just a moment. Is there any updates to it, Mark?
Agenda's fine.
Roll calls first, though. I apologize. I was off and running.
Councilmember Malama?
Here.
Shippers?
Here.
Spolman? Here. Stevens?
Here.
Mayor Filkins?
Here. Doug, would you like to go ahead and share that information with people?
I have found out through my significant other that we're no longer on channel 97. We are on 189, correct? Okay, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
All right, thank
Except
you.
those at home have no idea because they're on 97.
If I can make a suggestion, we should put that on our website if it isn't already, because people are asking, they don't know where to find us.
Yep.
Seems like we did. We put it in the newspaper.
I know, but you know, if you're not paying attention right then and you don't write it down, then you lose it. If maybe on the website would be good.
Okay, all right. Now if we could have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, now at a more appropriate time, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call?
Councilmember Shippers?
Yes.
Spolman?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Malama?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. At this time, we will open for public comments, and we do ask that public comments are held to 3 minutes, and that the public comments at the beginning of the meeting have only to do with the items that you see on the agenda, but are not part of any public hearing. If you do come forward, if you would also take a moment to write down your name and address, Sandy would really appreciate that. Okay, seeing no one at this time, we will go ahead and close public comment. And then with the consent agenda, if we could have a motion to approve the consent agenda as was presented to us.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support?
Sandy, roll call, please.
Councilmember Spolman?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Malama?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Mayor Barnett? Filkins, I'm sorry. The first time I've done it.
For that to happen.
First time.
I'm just glad it wasn't me.
There are other places where it's worse to say someone else's name. Just
That's we're all eating donuts
Yes.
tomorrow.
Okay. And at this time, Marcus, if we can open the public hearing.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just getting my place here. Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. This evening will be the public hearing on the fiscal year 2015 annual operating budget as presented by our Finance Director, Owen Roberts. Owen?
Thank you. I'll be very brief this evening, but this is the annual public hearing that is required to be held in April of each year as we walk through the budgeting process. I just want to briefly highlight tonight some areas in the budget that I believe are of particular interest, and then there will be an opportunity to address any questions that members of the council may have or members of the public later on as we move through the public hearing. Unlike the CIP process that we discussed a couple of weeks ago, the annual budget process is very much required by the city charter, which defines the steps that need to be followed each year in order to adopt the budget. The steps include on April 1st, when the budget is submitted to the City Council, And then subsequent to that, a couple of optional steps take place, similar to what we did tonight with the work session. We had one of those 2 weeks ago. There are a couple more opportunities to do that if council would choose. Then in mid-April, which is tonight, the budget public hearing is held, and this is a required public hearing. Just additional discussions and modifications are scheduled to the budget as needed or requested. Then sometime after the 15th of May, but before the end of May, which is how it reads in the charter, the budget needs to adopt by ordinance the annual budget. Between now and then, any change can be made up until the council adopts it. After the budget is adopted by council, amendments to it may be made via council resolutions. The fiscal year for this proposed budget will begin about 2.5 months from now on July 1st, 2014, and will run through June 30, 2015. This proposed budget includes expenditures of just over $17 million. This is up about 5.4% from the budget that was adopted last year. That increase is directly related to some additional street projects that are in the budget this year and will be proposed to be funded through the issuance of bonds, and we'll talk about that a little bit further as we move through here. Some of our major funds and the differences or the changes in the current year budget, both the general fund and the water and sewer fund, those are two pretty primary funds that most people have heard of. Very moderate, low increases in each of those funds. The major street fund increased by $211,000. There's a number of reserves on hand in that fund that have to be used in the major street system. So that $200,000 is proposed to be used to fund street construction, and we'll again identify that project in just a moment. The local street fund declined significantly. Again, just the timing of capital projects. Component units, which include the DDA, LDFA, brownfield, those are essentially the same. And then other funds went up by about $600,000. Within these other funds are the capital projects fund, where the street construction will be paid for. So that represents the substantial increase in there. To jump right in now to the details of the budget, I want to begin with a review of some of the city's primary revenue sources, which of course has to start with taxable value, where we derive our primary source of revenue, especially in the general fund. The financial challenges that we've been facing for several years here really are directly traced or attributable to some pretty dramatic drops in this source of revenue. Since 2009, we've lost pushing $20 million just in taxable value, which is about 7.5% of our overall value from 2009. That translates into a real loss of over $270,000 annually in property tax revenues, and all of this in an environment where things like fuel, utilities, employee costs have continued to increase. What this has done for us, obviously, as you've seen over the last couple of years, this has made hitting that moving target of structural balance very difficult, and something that we're still trying to move closer to. In terms of the numbers, those same kind of statistics reported as numbers, the assessed value you can see has dropped by over $50 million. Assessed value representing 50% really of the true cash value of a property. So just in the city here, we've lost $100 million in property value since 2009, and I think that's the scale of that can't really be overstated. I think that's very dramatic. Taxable value again from 262 million down to 243 million, a drop of $19 million. The impact that those drops have had on tax revenues and our primary sources of tax levy are presented. The operating millage of 13.9473 mils and the Act 345 millage of 2.6 mils, loss in operating of over $268,000, and almost a $50,000 drop in revenues for our police and fire system. Speaking of millages, our millage rates and tax levies are presented here. There is no change proposed for our operating millage of 13.9473 mils. There's also no change proposed for our police and fire retirement millage, 2.6 mils, or the levy of 1.9548 mils that is levied on parcels within our downtown development district. The only significant change to our tax revenues are that the lake treatment millage has expired. This current fiscal year was the last year that was authorized to be levied. That was 0.5 mils and generates about $125,000 a year. There are funds on hand to fund treatment costs for this season and probably all of next season as well. And so meetings have already begun on identifying or recommending the source of funding for that as we move into the future. One thing we do know for sure is that the need to treat doesn't go away. And so we need to identify that additional source of funding as to move forward.
I just wanted to clarify that the funds that are on hand that you're referring to are actually from the funds that were collected through the special millage.
Yes. Residual funds from the millage where treatment costs came in a little bit below each year what we actually raised in city taxes. A portion of these city property taxes are captured by our local development finance authority, downtown development authority, and brownfield authority, used to fund authorized projects within legislatively approved districts. Other important revenue is our revenues from the state of Michigan. We talk about these time and time again. In terms of state shared revenue, over the last 5 years, we've finally started to tick back up. This is presented by the chart on the right of the screen here. That small increase, though, we still remain over $300,000 below the actual dollars we received in 2001. So over the last 15 years, it's been a pretty dramatic loss in revenue. So you couple that $300,000 with the $270,000 in property tax revenue loss, and you can see why it's been challenging to balance the budget, not only balance the budget, but to fund capital projects and things like that. Our motor vehicle highway funds, these are primarily the gas taxes that we receive for our major and local street maintenance and construction activities. These have begun to recover somewhat, but essentially these are at the same level that we received from the state in 2005. So 10 years ago, we were receiving the same amount of money from the state for our major and local street fund operations and even construction. So what we've had to do is rely on additional local sources of revenue, transfers from the general fund, from property tax revenues in order to support those kinds of activities. Charges to our customers. This current fiscal year is kind of unprecedented, at least since I've been around in a long time. The water rates, where we are proposing for the third consecutive year to not increase the rates, so I think that's good news for our community. There's a couple of pretty clear reasons why we've been able to do that. Number one is that the costs for our phase one of the Wellfield project came in about $1 million below what we had originally thought that they would be. In addition, we experienced the savings from interest over the last year and moving out into the future until 2026 when those bonds are paid off. We refinanced those last summer. There was a $700,000 net present value savings on that reissuance, so that has benefited the budget as well. We continue to wean ourselves off budgetarily from leachate treatment revenue that's received through the wastewater treatment plant. However, those funds continue to come in at previous levels, and so that provides a little bit of extra revenue beyond what's budgeted for the water and sewer fund. Just to get an early warning out there, a year from now, I don't think this will be the same story. I do think we'll be back asking for a rate increase in 2015, and that's primarily due to the fact where that will be moving further and further into our Phase 2 well field relocation project. So we'll need to come back and address what we'll need in terms of additional debt service when that project gets up and running. Solid waste removal and recycling is another couple of services that we bill monthly for. There will be a slight increase for fiscal year 2015. These charges are billed in advance, so these will be on the June billing, and these are inflationary adjustments that are built into the removal and recycling contracts. So they're tied to indexes that neither one of us create, so they're independent. It's the CPI and then a diesel fuel price index that are out there. So the numbers as they look right now, solid waste will be up about 10 cents per month, and recycling will be up about 3 cents per month. And we're still waiting on, I've had a brief discussion with our waste hauler, and he was in concurrence with my percentages, but just waiting on some final agreement on those numbers. So it looks like about 13 cents total a month, which is less than $2 for the whole entire year in terms of an increase, about $1.56. So those two changes will begin on July 1st. Moving into some highlights more on the expenditure side. As a service organization, obviously a large percentage of our costs are based on personnel costs. Our full-time employment has stayed this year at 75. It has been going down for a number of years. Our average cost has gone up a little bit. This includes all employees at all levels, including some of our retirement costs, which are funded through a millage. So that does include all of our full-time employees. Again, represents nearly 40% of the budget. Because of some of the increases that we've experienced, we have had to implement a few changes over the years. You've heard before, since about 2007, we've been working hard to maintain some of our legacy costs, specifically retirement health care, where no new employees are able to get that. That obviously is still in place. We did implement a new health insurance program this year that helped substantially offset a pretty large renewal increase that we were faced with. So we've had to do some of those things. Those have been mostly well received at this point, and we'll continue to evaluate those moving forward. Again, no change in total employment for the year, 75 full-time equivalent employees. In terms of compensation changes for the next year, we try to do our best to maintain parity over all groups, all levels, as far as that goes. The non-union, we are anticipating more of a small lump sum approach, similar to where what we did last year. Our steelworkers union is at a 0% this year, but this is year 2 of a contract that they will receive about 3.5% additional compensation over the total 3 years of that contract. And then the other 3 unions, actually 2 in the police side and 1 on the fire, those are currently open for discussion. The fire contract is not expired, but they have an opener each year for wages. The police contracts expire as of June 30, 2014, so we're working hard to get those taken care of. Capital projects, we're back to our street projects. This is another significant area of spending. For the current year, this is the most significant component of capital spending. We are expected to ask for a bond issuance this year. We have not done this since 2004, so about 10 years since we've issued any kind of general obligation bond to fund regular street construction. We've done some revenue bond issues over these few years to fund major projects. Those are supported through water and sewer revenue. We have not issued general obligation debt since 2004. That's given us some flexibility now as we try and ramp up a number of these projects here over the next 2 years. But for this year, we have this list of projects slated at this point. Again, contingent upon some bonds being issued. We can't afford the $1.5 million at this point, just out of reserves on hand. So we do have Lake Street, which, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago at the CIP hearing, there's a collective applause, I'm sure, going out all over the community to get Lake Street taken care of, as that one is in an extreme state of disrepair at this point. Everett Street, Holly Road, East Garfield, Simons, Selma, Aldrich, and these are portions of those streets which are listed there. And then continuing our street sign replacement projects, the major street system is about wrapped up on that project, and a few more years yet on the local side. Other capital projects that are in the budget thus far: a police patrol vehicle, continuing our regular upgrade of those. A loader in the Public Works Department. Incidentally, as we again talked about in the CIP, we are considering what I think is a pretty attractive, at least on the surface, lease option where you can do a 4 or 5 month lease on one of those, a new, in excellent condition kind of equipment that you turn in at the end of the year and get a different one the next year. So would save us on some maintenance costs ideally, and maybe a good way, since we will have one continue to be in the full-time fleet of equipment. Maybe again, as we walk down that road, to explore that option, at least an option to keep us from having to spend that money to invest in a brand new one. With trade-in, it'd be about $175,000 to buy a new one. Street signs projects, we just mentioned those. Wellfield, we're planning to continue phase 2. The bulk of the capital outlay for that project won't be in this year, will be in fiscal year 2016, as we anticipate meeting the state's drinking water revolving fund deadline in May of next year, and then that will get rolling throughout that year. We are looking at some parcels, obviously, as we explore some water quality around the city, and so some of those costs will be incurred in the current year as we drill some test wells, look at potentially buying some property, and do some of the engineering that's required in observing and testing the wells that we drill. Buying a couple of mowers and continuing a pattern and program of replacing some technology year by year. That really is the end of the significant, at least to me, budgetary issues that I wanted to highlight for you. You have had the document in your hand for a few weeks, and I know I've had the chance to talk about it in our work sessions a couple of times, but I would be happy to address any additional questions from council or from members of the public at this time. So thank you.
Thank you, Owen. Okay. Are there any questions from anyone in the audience this evening? Any further discussion by the council that you'd like to have?
This is on the web, am I correct?
It will be on there tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow.
Encourage the public to take a look at it.
Yep, and it's very easy to find. Cadillac-mi.net/2015 budget. So, going to make it pretty easy to find.
Sorry, in addition to brag up the nice budget you put together, they can also find it at City Hall in the library still?
Yes, it's
hard
at
copy?
City Hall. We'll take a copy to the library as well. Try and get this process kind of down, and then we'll have those available, yes.
And then what is the, like if an individual wanted to give any input, what's the preferred measure of doing that?
We're always happy to meet with folks. Our contact information is on the website, or they can stop here at the counter. They can always contact their representative from council, and you guys can pass the messages along to us. So any number of ways, if you see us on the street.
Our phone numbers are online too, and our emails are online also, so, as well as for council too, so.
If you see me out running, I'm probably about ready to pass out, so maybe not there. But other than that, I'm happy to talk about it anywhere.
Well, thanks too, Owen, for the public too, you've done a good job of making it more user-friendly for an individual that may not have a lot of knowledge on this to be able to read through it and understand it. So thanks for doing that.
Good, thank you. You're welcome.
Let's say it. I just want to mention too, right on your coattails, if that's okay, we have been consistent in earning awards on an annual basis for the budget, and major kudos to Owen and the finance department for putting that together, and it really all goes towards the ease in which you can look at the summary charts and the graphs and read through it. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, is there any more discussion? At this time, then, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Next, we have communications.
First request is from Steve Birdwell from the Cadillac Honor Guard to approve the parade route for the Memorial Day Parade to be held on May 26, 2014.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for being short, Owen. I think I was here last year when you did that. There's about an hour and a half I had to wait.
Not my part. My part, not my part. You're welcome.
Yeah, we're here for the annual Memorial Day that we put on every year. Nothing much has changed. We're going to start line up at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll be going down to the lake to do our sailors tribute. Then we start up Harris Street at 10 o'clock, Mitchell, Pine, Chestnut, and end up at the stadium. We really don't have a whole lot of change this year. We wanted to try to get something a little bit changed different. We are encouraging one other thing, though, because we are paying salute to Korean War veterans this year. We are encouraging people out there that would like to put a float or something in there, a theme on Korean War veterans. And something to think about next year is a salute to Vietnam veterans. So. I have parade apps. Personally, there will be some down at the AMVETS because the AMVETS was supposed to be the host for the parade this year. We are not doing the 4 separate areas anymore. Myself, I have Richie on there. We have 3 other people from the different posts. We put a parade committee together so that every year we're a little bit more organized. Every year you go to a gun. I went to the AMVET meeting 3 or 4 weeks ago and asked them, says, you guys know you got the parade this year? No. Do you want the parade this year? No. I says, good. I says, we'll put a parade committee together. That way we can keep books and keep addresses of all the people we send applications and stuff out. Be a little bit more organized, I'm hoping. I'm chairing it this year, but I ain't doing it again. I do enough.
Everybody remember that he said that. Next year, he's going to be
He'll
standing
be right back
Next year
there.
I'll show up, just leave it up to Richie.
No, Richie will be up there. You guys will just take turns.
Also, we have apps at the Cadillac Area Tourist Bureau. I work with Gabby and Gail pretty regular on different events and stuff in Cadillac, and then they were glad to take their addresses on the app, so she'll take them, mail them to her. I don't know, I didn't bring an app with me, but my phone number, cell phone number is 231-884-3597. Anybody can call me and ask me about the parade. I'll be glad to get them an app or send it to them or call Gabby up and ship it to them. We will be mailing out apps. I mentioned this year is going to be a kind of a solemn one. We lost 3 Honor Guard members this year. Whoops. And it's going to be pretty sad at the ceremony, I think. It's not on the app, but I do have a speaker already this year. Usually it's a last-minute deal. This lady called me 2 days after her husband died. Betty Nelson is going to be our speaker this year. I was really shocked when she asked for it. We had a pretty good conversation over the last 3 or 4 days before the funeral and everything. And I told her one thing, no, Betty, I says, I like you, I love you like a mother, but 10, 15 minutes, please. She says, are you insinuating something? Me? I personally love Betty to death, but I sat three seats away from her just because she likes to talk. And her husband Ray was the same way, so. That's all I have. Richie was going to ask for one permission on the lineup.
When we line the parade up, it has become so big that we kind of take over Elk Avenue and the parking lot. Last year we did ask, and they agreed to allow us to do that again, because there's just so many people that if we start lining them up along the streets, we'll run out of room and end up blocking streets that we don't really need to block. We kind of stuff them all into the city parking lot right off from Elk Avenue. I guess it would be on the east side of the city park, if we could have that parking lot too. And
just clarification, you're talking about Elk Avenue on the east side?
Elk Avenue and that parking lot. We start lining up on Elk Avenue because, like, we use the Elks in there, and we're only there for an hour. Yeah. You know, from 9 o'clock till 8:30, let's say, till 10 o'clock. Once that parade starts, we vacate that real quick, so.
We get it every year, but I don't think we've ever asked permission to make sure that if somebody pulls into the parking lot, we have the permission to get them out of there. Otherwise, we'll block them in, one of the two. Because we get a lot of people in there, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year, so.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all you do for this.
One more thing while I'm here, I would like to thank you for the use of the boat launch for our golf on the ice that we did in February, as we were able to raise $2,500 this year for Area 32 Special Olympics. So
wonderful.
Thanks for letting us go down there.
Thank you. Marcus, you had
I just had a quick question. Are you also encouraging folks to walk that had family
Oh,
members
yes,
in the service?
that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we got flyers printed and we're putting them out.
Can you come back up here so that people at home can hear you?
Yes, we have flyers and stuff. I just picked them up the other day. Of the walk that we started at committee I think this will be our third year. And we're encouraging all veterans to walk. And if you are not a veteran, but you had a deceased or somebody that's serving active duty and can't make it, if you carry an 8x10 picture with you, you are allowed to march with the veterans as long as you can do it. I know we have quite a few people in town that do bring pictures and stuff and walk with them. So we are encouraging that too.
I did have an additional question.
Sure.
So the plan is the new uniforms, is that still going to be?
I have not talked to the uniform company, but I was told 6 weeks and it's been about 4 weeks. So I'm about ready to call. Her name is Nettie over in Kansas City. I don't see any reason why not. They better be here, or I'll be in Kansas City talking to somebody. But I was promised them 6 weeks, which should bring us in here right around the 1st, not the middle of May. And hopefully we get them in time so we can get all our patches and stuff on them. But we're going to look good.
You're going to look good.
We're going to look good.
Yeah. Okay.
The application does include the parade route, and then it references the Elk Alley parking lot, and I would simply say, for clarification purposes, also including the adjacent parking lot.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for the parade route for the Memorial Day Parade to be held on May 26, 2014, and include the staging area of Elk Alley parking lot and the adjacent parking lot.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Melama?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carries.
The next request is from Kyle Farmer from the Rotary Club for a street closure on Linden from Chestnut to West Division from 8:15 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. on May 26th for the Stride for Strive 5K run and walk event.
Hello.
Hi.
Not sure if there's any questions. Kyle Farmer with the Rotary Club of Cadillac. Everything should go smoothly like it did last year. We're going to be running the same route. We've requested the same closures that we did last year. It is Memorial Day, and registration will start at 7 a.m. We usually get there a little earlier to get things set up. The race does start at 8:30. Should be done and everything cleaned up and out of there before they need the Memorial Stadium later on that morning. Any questions or concerns that you have? We do have registration this year a little bit differently. We are doing a registration online, and those can be found, if I can mention this, at the Facebook page for Rotary Club of Cadillac. They can be found on Twitter at Cadillac Rotary, and then also on YouTube at Cadillac Rotary. So it's a little bit easier process, we're hoping, with our online application this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the closure of Linden Street between Chestnut and West Division from 8:15 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. on May 26th for the Stride for Strife 5K run for the Rotary Club.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Malama?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. Motion carries.
Busy day.
The next request is from David Art from the Northern Michigan Pride for a street closure on Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on August 17th for the Cadillac LGBT Pride 2014 event.
Got Lonnie Burkett here.
Lonnie's here.
Lonnie?
I'm Lonnie Burkett. I'm here on behalf of David. This is our first year to plan a Pride event for Cadillac, and we're hoping for a good turnout, good support. It's going to be first time, so we're not really sure how it's all going to go. But we're planning on a day of entertainment. We'll have music, we'll have female impersonator performers, hopefully some bands, hopefully some food vendors, and maybe a petting zoo. Anything else, Tiffany? Children? No. Children activities, maybe some face painting, balloons, that kind of thing.
Also vendors selling their like goods.
Possibly selling crafts or whatever.
If I may
Yes.
just add, the event organizers have been very willing and very easy to work with, working directly with Jason Strait in our police department, who has gotten involved with respect to helping coordinate with other special events that happen around town, along with other staff as well. And so the action that council needs to consider this evening is simply the street closure along Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on August 17th.
Done? Thanks.
Could we have a motion?
Yep, I will make a motion to approve the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on August 17th, 2014 for the first annual Cadillac LGBT Pride event.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Malama?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. Motion carries. And the next thing that we have on our agenda this evening is the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The first item is just simply almost an FYI. The the Parks cleanup event date, sorry, came out as Clark's, is going to be set a little bit later this year due to weather conditions. Hopefully, things will be dried out, but we are looking at the Parks Cleanup Day being May 17th, 2014. I believe there'll be sign-up sheets. Are there any out yet? Oh, yeah? Okay. At the front counter? So there are sign-up sheets available if people would like to advise where they'd like to volunteer and try to help clean up our parks. It's a great annual event that we have, and I'm glad that we're going to continue to do it.
I have a question, if I could. I walked the entire length of the Clam River Greenway the other day, and I've noticed how much organic matter, for lack of a better word, leaves, sticks, branches, sand, etc., is on the Clam River Greenway, the actual walkway and the boardwalk. And I'm wondering if there's any way to clean that with any machinery. or if this is a good project for me to try to get some Rotarians maybe involved for that day, if we have proper equipment like brooms or shovels or whatever to just wipe it off the thing. But it is really full. I'm kind of talking to you, Tara. I'm right behind you, Steve.
Yeah, I can check into it and see if we can sweep it.
Because we don't put machinery down that, do we? Oh, you don't?
We can check to see what we might have and let you know.
It would really be nice, you know, in the past, the Rotarians have done a lot with river cleanup before we actually invested in doing the greenway, but now I think we need to invest our time in cleaning the greenway because and I know this is the early time of year and the snow has just melted, but it really needs some cleaning.
We were just talking about that, taking the twins out for a walk on Saturday and gonna take the greenway, and it was not accessible, so it'd be nice. Or can that be added to the cleanup? That's a long ways away.
Well, it is on the list, I noticed, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more for picking up, you know, larger.
Yeah, and there's lots of litter to be picked up. It's unfortunate that there's not a lot of pride in some people's neighborhoods, and that's a source of sadness for me. But if nothing else, if we could figure out a way to get just the organic matter off of the greenway and off the boardwalk in areas, that would be really helpful. I don't think you could ride a bike through there very comfortably or rollerblade or anything right now. It's hard to walk through some spots.
Yep. Or push a stroller.
Yeah.
That was all for the first one. The second item is the Made in Michigan Market. This is, I believe, the second year, is that correct, Jerry?
Yes.
That this special event is being proposed. The Downtown Cadillac Association is essentially spearheading it, where they allow to have vendors come in, at least now it looks like a couple of days a week, to sell their wares from Made in Michigan. I see Jerry put the slide up. Did you want to run through the recommendation? Or did you want to...
Sure. Yes, and Judy Emmons from Made in Michigan is here as well, so I'm sure she can answer any questions you might have real quickly, and then maybe I'll turn it over to you if that's okay. Yeah, last year, Made in Michigan operated on Thursday mornings only. This year, they would like to also operate on Saturday. In fact, they want to start this year earlier on Saturdays. And we've met with Ms. Emmons, the folks, and last year, the Thursday market, essentially they more or less utilized the two most westerly rows of the City Park parking lot between the Mitchell Street businesses and the City Park. It's highlighted by kind of like the green there, and they want to utilize those same two rows more or less. They may not always need the two rows. Some cases they may need a little bit more. For the Thursday morning operation, the market itself operates between 8 and 2 o'clock. And in your council communication, we've indicated that they need a little time before and a little time after to set up and break down. And then on Saturdays, they will operate, with your approval, from what I call the city office parking lot, right across the street out here, or right across the door, I should say, the main entry. Not totally certain which areas they might end up utilizing. Again, I've delineated them in the light green color. On Saturdays, this lot area is pretty much underutilized. And you might say, well, why Saturdays there and Thursdays here? During the summer, almost every Saturday, there's something going on at the City Park, the Rotary Performing Arts Pavilion. And so there was just a high potential for conflict if we were to end up reserving that parking lot for many of those activities. So they've graciously indicated it's not a problem with operating on Saturdays in the city office parking lot. And again, the hours of operation for both would be 8 to 2. with about an hour, hour and a half or so before, hour and a half after for setup and takedown. And also, during the days of operation, there would be some sandwich board signs placed on Mitchell Street, which we don't really have a problem with. And Ms. Simmons, if you want to maybe add, if that's okay, with council.
Hi, good evening. It's so nice to be here. First of all, I just wanted to thank you for your time and just let you know about the farmers market last year, the Made in Michigan Farmers Market. Thank you so much for approving it. Last year, at the peak of our season, we had over 30 vendors come to our market, and our vendors were so happy to be able to work and use their talent and their skills to be able to earn money. They were able to earn money and then in turn put that money back into our community. So our regular vendors brought their talents to our market, and they came from places as Mesick, Leroy, McBain, Marion, Lake City, Tustin, Manton, Harrietta, and Cadillac, of course. They were veterans. We had disabled, retired people, single moms, stay-at-home moms. We had full-time employees and part-time employees come and work at our markets. We had teachers and we had students. And they were all able to earn a sustainable income, and they wanted me to relay their thanks for being able to do that. They were just very gracious and humbled in being able to be there. They were all so very happy. So we're here to come back to ask. We really want to thank our community too. The community members came out week after week to support us, and without them, we wouldn't be successful. I hope you all had a chance to come and see us. And some vendors who would like to be vendors work during the week and would like to work on Saturdays. And also, I had a lot of feedback of community members who couldn't make it to the market during the week because of work. And so that's why we thought of having a market on Saturdays. And the Saturday market would be from 8 to 1 instead of 8 to 2. And we really like the idea of being in one location, not having to move around with the other events. And of course, we don't want to, be a conflict with the other events. So we are really happy to be over here and be at the same place every week. It would be, I think we'd be really, it'd work really well for everyone.
I have a question, it's probably mostly for Jerry. Was there consideration of putting them in the, where the existing farm market is on Saturdays?
Yes, there was, and logistically, it just didn't work out. This was a better location. Part of it was just due to the operation, the number of vendors and so forth, and it varies. It starts out kind of slow, then it grows, but plus, it was just better.
The fit, if 30 vendors would have a hard time fitting there, and then the traffic, and then people have to cross the street.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's not perfect there, no.
I like the idea of using this area too when it's underused. It's shady.
Yes, and hopefully we can bring business to downtown on this end as well.
I also wonder about on Thursday, and you've probably already thought about this, Jerry, but with the businesses that are there, they've changed, and the dance studio's in there, and Clam Lake is in there, and there's a lot more people in that area. Is that going to be a problem?
We don't think so. We've done some surveys on Thursdays, just as we've done some vehicle counts and so forth, and if they were there in the evening, probably it would be an issue. That's when the majority of the lots filled, but shouldn't be a problem on Thursdays. One of the things too about having the market over here on Saturdays is, there may be some spin-off potential for the businesses that are located on Mitchell. If they, for example, if one of the stores wanted to set up a booth right there, or at least meet the folks and so forth. So it's kind of giving a new area of businesses an opportunity to capitalize on the Made in Michigan market. Conversely, it gives them to capitalize on another group of retailers in the downtown area.
Yes, and our goal is really to partner with the businesses. We are just so thankful for them to allow us to come down there. You know, they sponsored us last year, and they're sponsoring us again this year. And just very thankful for all the community support and from the businesses and everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
If I may just make a suggestion with respect to the motion, to simply add to approve subject to the conditions in the presentation as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve the use of the public parking lots and placement of the market signs for the 2014 season of the Made in Michigan Market as presented.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Spelman.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Melama.
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Mayor Filkins.
Yes. Motion carries.
We have another quick slideshow on this next item for a sewer truck. Yes. Yes. So,
Oh, good.
This should be exciting.
well, it's a big sucker. Jeff, if you want, I'll open it up and then you can walk them through the slideshow.
Yep.
Essentially, we're here this evening requesting City Council to award the purchase of a sewer vacuum truck. The Water and Sewer Fund currently includes the appropriation of $400,000 for the purchase of the new sewer vacuum truck, which will replace and actually upgrade the current sewer vacuum truck. This is a necessary evil, if you will, a critical piece of equipment that's used by the Utilities Department. When comparing specifications, and this is where the slideshow will become helpful because I believe it'll help illustrate better than perhaps what I can talk to. But when comparing the specifications for the bids that were received with the original requirements, the Vector 2112 Plus model bid by Jack Doheny Companies most closely matches the bid specifications. And in addition, there are also several important features that factor into the purchase recommendation. I'm not going to read actually all the detail, but I'll list them out, including a positive displacement pump or a PD pump, the water pump itself, and the employee safety component. Additionally, there were various municipalities that provided some very good references to Jeff and the Utilities Department on the equipment. Jeff, if you want to walk through the slides that you have now. Oh, excuse me.
Hello, Mayor, Council. I'm here today to talk about a big sucker, like Marcus said. It is a Vector truck, a vacuum jetter truck, actually. We currently have one in the fleet. It's a VacCon model, and we went out to bid earlier this year. We got several bids back, and we evaluated them all. I think we got the bids in February, and we've taken this long from early February not till now to make a recommendation of which one we wanted, or which one we felt was the best. So the proposed Vector truck here, it's a plus 2115-36 single engine unit truck from Jack Doheny. Jack Doheny's been in business, well, the Vector truck has been in business since 1960. And Jack Doheny has been a company that has sold them for 48 years, and they have they're in 9 locations throughout the nation.
Jeff, you do have a different number, by the way, in your write-up. You have the 2112 plus.
Right. Well, I'm sure the 2112 plus. All right, this is the 2112 plus. It looks very similar to this one. A lot of that will be lighting. A lot of it will be just some of the extra features that we have on an arrow on the back, and that a lot of that makes the different numbers of the system. It has a 270-degree rotating jetter hose reel on the front end. This is a patented feature of the Vector truck. This feature, as you can see here, it lets the operator stand in front of the truck. When there's any traffic coming from behind the truck is between the operator and the equipment operator. The vac con to the right, their hose reel, when it's being used, it will actually at times put the person out in the lane of traffic. So there's a safety issue there that we did not like in our current model. So it's something we were very concerned with. This truck also, all the trucks that we looked at had what we'd call a wireless remote. They actually call this the belly pack. These guys have their control lets you do everything that the truck can do. You can power on, off the truck. You can, the hose reel, you can play in and out the hose. You can, how fast you feed it out. You can increase the amount of suction. You can move the boom right and left, up and down. You can turn the water on, off. You can do everything from that. The VACCON, you can raise the boom up and down, side to side. That's it. So this one has a lot more safety features. Again, the guy could be off the road on the sidewalk doing all the equipment management of this piece of equipment and not be in the line of traffic. We also have a digital display on this one. Our current one doesn't have a digital display. Everything is the old metered system. This one will actually tell you how many gallons of water you used, how far out your hose is, how much pressure you have on the hose out there for when you're cleaning. It's something that will become very useful because every year we report to you guys in our budget how many feet of main we clean. This will be actually a lot more accurate. And a lot of it, we might clean the same main 3 or 4 times going back and forth in the main. So this will help us. It also has, in this display panel, it also has a diagnostic that will tell you if something's wrong in the truck. A lot of times you can call up the service center and say, I have this light on. They'll tell you this module is gone in your truck, and they'll send you that new module. You put it in yourself, and you save the trip of labor of somebody coming up once it's out of warranty. One of the good things we found is this, the pump, the Vector Rotor Pump Exclusive Jackhammer Action. It's the, yeah, it's a mouthful. Right now we use on our truck, we have a triplex pump. Triplex pump, all the other trucks come with a triplex pump for the water. On the water end of it, since 2006, we've rebuilt that pump, the triplex pump, numerous times, but it was over $15,000 worth of rebuilds we put into the water pump on this. So on the jetter head, when you're jetting, we've put over $15,000 since 2006, and that's months of downtime we've had. These, this pump system they have in here actually only has 5 moving parts in it. One half of it has oil that comes in to move the piston, the other half has the water in it, and it just slides back and forth. And you can see it right there, the water coming in and going out. 5 moving parts in it. It's not uncommon for these things to go for 15 years before they need to be rebuilt, or 15 plus. Well, the other thing is the way this thing goes, you can have what the jackhammer of it is that you'll actually, the water coming through will come in through bursts, and so your hose that's going through the sewer will actually act like a jackhammer to go through any obstruction. Or you can switch your lever and have it just come straight on through and not jackhammer. A lot of time the guys, when they're out on the job, our current back on, they physically have to hang on to the hose, pull it back out of the hole, put it back down. So you're getting 2 or 3 foot of pulling on a hose. If a hose is out 300-400 feet, you're actually probably not moving it that far. You're probably only moving it a couple inches. With this thing, it'll jackhammer through a lot of obstructions that currently it takes us a long time to get through. We have a filtration system on this that's next to none. One of the things is that we have a positive displacement pump on here for the sucking end of this, which makes it a big sucker. Those, the lobes in there on the fan or on the blower itself, the tolerances are so close that you have to have a great filtration system on it, and I do believe VACCON has the best in the country on it. We use a similar blower, a Roots blower, out at the wastewater plant. Same thing. You need to have such clean air coming into it because a grain of dust could actually cause it to to not work. So the filtration system on it, the air comes in, the air goes out. We have I'll get into the filtration, it's next couple slides. One of the other things about this blower is a direct drive. It drives right off of the main engine of the unit. We had specified that we wanted a single unit, the cab to drive everything. They were the only ones that brought up a truck that was like that. That was a single engine that was running it all. Everybody else brought up trucks for us. It's similar to this, but they'd have dual engines on it, dual engines. They were one of the only ones that brought up a positive displacement pump. The other ones finally did on the third or fourth finally did on the third or fourth visit. They finally brought up what we told them from the original we wanted. So in this thing, there's 4 cyclone protects the like a vacuum cleaner. They have the cyclonic cylinders in there that actually take out a lot of the dust before it hits the blower. They actually have these stainless steel filters that it also goes through. Nobody else has the combination of both to get rid of all the sand and grit and dust and particles you're sucking up in. And the last thing on this is that it actually has a high dump. We've heard, we're not for sure, that the state might start have different regulations coming down, that you might actually have to dispose of this more in a container like this and then take it to a landfill. Currently, we take it to our wastewater treatment plant. We have the drying beds. We dry out the material. Then we truck it up there. We've heard that they might, in the future, they're considering legislation that we'd have to dump it into a container and then take it up to the state, to the landfill that would accept it. I'd hate to buy a machine today and then find out 3 years from now that they do enact that legislation and have a low dump where we couldn't have a dumpster that would fit into. That's the end of the presentation. Some things I would like to say is that when we talk to all of the municipalities, we talked to a lot of municipalities, and all the ones that we took the most interest was the ones that had bought both of the pieces of equipment. Had a VATCON, went to a Vactor, or had a Vactor, went to a VATCON, went back. All of them said they'd go back to the Vactor. We did not find one that said, you know, they're equal or they're similar or you could go either way. Everyone we asked, they all said they'd choose the Vactor over the VATCON.
How many was that?
I think we had 10 that we asked. You know, 8 to 10 of them we had on our list. Some of them were big cities like Kalamazoo, Battle Creek. Some of them were our local A1 up north. They chimed in. They do a lot of Vactoring for us. We wanted a positive displacement pump because currently with our fan system, you can only suck so deep into wells, like wet wells. We actually are our Whaley Street lift station, we actually have to shut off the pumps, flood the lift station to lift the debris up high enough that we can suck it out with our current fan system because it's so deep. With this one, we should be able to suck it out right in normal operations. Some of our bigger sewers we had problems with. Our VATCON was a great vehicle. It got us into the sewer cleaning. You know, and now we're second generation. We've done it for a while, and we know what we can't do. And there's a lot of things we can't do because we don't have the machine to do it. A lot of these cleanings, we go out and we bid this out to the A1 usually, or one of the Down Under is another cleaning one we bid out stuff because we just don't have the machine to do the operations. And with this machine, we do believe we'd be bidding out a lot less.
So do you know what the cost avoidance will be by not having to bid that out?
It'll be more than make up for the 15,000. That's the difference in the low bid to this one. I would say we probably do at least 15,000 a year right now in bids to these other contractors to come in. So.
In addition, though, you mentioned how many months that it was down. Mm-hmm. The other type.
And those are summer months, not winter months. Those are summer months because obviously it's hard to clean in the winter. So.
And not only is it. I mean, you talked about the cost of replacing them, but that didn't cost, if I recall, you had to then go out for bids again or have another company cover while we're.
when we're down and we need something clean, we'll go out to bid, with it. We have taken, and the other thing is we do, sometimes in emergencies, we'll help out our neighboring municipality. Last year, we went up to Manton because they had a plug line, and we took this up because we could get there faster than A1, and we helped them out. They had a clog line coming into their wastewater treatment plant, so we blasted through one day and brought her back home. So, it's not only it's for us all the time, but we do help out the neighboring surrounding communities also with it, so, when it's an emergency.
I'm sorry if I missed this, but are we keeping the other truck or are we trading it in?
We will be trading it in. We will be selling, actually we'll be selling it outright because we'll do better that way. We've been told by everybody we'll do better selling it outright. Any questions or any?
Thank you.
It is amazing. This kind of machinery is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, Jeff said it, it's never a good idea when you have to turn on the pumps in the pump station and clean them out.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've been very fortunate and lucky that the pumps have turned back on again without having any issue or hesitation. Otherwise, you could result in flooding people's properties with sewage. So.
Thanks for the presentation too. That was, and I know it's a little more, but I think long-term we're going to end up saving money on it just from that. I'd like to make a motion that we award the contract for the purchase of a sewer vacuum truck to Jack Doheny Companies in the amount of $380,000.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Melama?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Spolman?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. Motion carries. And then we have on the agenda the adoption of ordinances and resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members, or Mr. Mayor. I
See, the
caught.
Pandora's box is open.
2 days of donuts.
Madam Mayor, members of council.
What is going on here?
I don't know.
The honeymoon's over.
The honeymoon.
I think it's the talk of female impersonators.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that was it.
Anyway.
All right, anyway, this item is with respect to the changing essentially of a light bulb at the roundabout corner of Plunt Road and 13th Street, looking at changing it from 120 watt to a 250 watt bulb. This will add, I want to say, between $3 to $5 of cost to the city on, what, is that a monthly basis? Monthly basis. And it will benefit the city by increasing light to that roundabout area. There is no standard currently on the Herring Township side that I'm aware of in the works of being built in. Is that correct? So this is to try to do what we can do to light up at least our side a little bit brighter.
Sounds like a good idea.
Maybe. I'm on the fence with this. I'm all about night sky, and I don't like a lot of light, especially if I lived in that neighborhood and somebody put in a light that's, 2.5 times brighter than what I had before. This is on the outside of town. I'd be pretty bummed out about it. But I did talk to Bruce, and he gave me interesting information, and there aren't a lot of homes in the area. They're businesses. He thinks that this intersection, because it is the roundabout, should be lit better. But if it's costing $3 more a month to light this, I mean, how bright is this light? This scares me. I mean, I really have an issue with bright lights. Can you tell?
Well, it's from 100 watt to 250, so.
It must be really, really bright.
Can you give an example, Bruce?
Are we going to be
perhaps?
driving down the road and be affected by it? Are we going to wish that we hadn't lit up that part of the sky so much?
Some of the lights on Mitchell Street near the south end are 250 watts. I don't know if that gives you some sense of how well it's lit.
The street lighting, Bruce?
Yeah, down near the PBS station down there, those are about 250.
And honestly, where the roundabout is, there aren't houses right there.
No, there aren't. Thank goodness, no.
Yeah, it's all businesses.
They're almost all business
Yeah.
in the wastewater treatment facility.
And it's not like the night sky is very visible there with that north end orange glow. And I think lighting, because it's a place where people cycle in the evening, and if you could see people coming better, I think I'm in favor of it.
The one, I keep going back and forth on this. I really wish I'd driven out there and looked at it at night before I had to vote on it, but it is an area that gets a lot of fog too. I know that, and I know that we have had some accidents there. I don't know if this will help, but I wish we had a lighting ordinance. I really do. We've got some really bad lighting in this community that is unfortunate. So I'll get off my soapbox about lights.
It'd be nice to get, it is not more costly to get lighting that is directional instead of, where it blows up the sky too.
Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion on that? If not, could we have a motion?
I will make a motion to adopt the resolution to approve the authorization for a change in standard street lighting contract.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Malama?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. Motion carries. And then we have, just for the information of the council, the minutes of the Courthouse Hill District Commission meeting that was held on January 13th. And at this time, I would open the floor for any additional public comments.
My name's Awana Bilterman. Just had a couple quick questions. Maybe it's possible, because like the ideas and issues over coffee, if that could be on the city's website. And then as of 4 o'clock today, we still did not have an agenda for the public to see on the computer. There was no agenda, there was nothing. And that was the last time I looked, was at 4 o'clock. I know I brought this up last time, and I was told that, they were working on a program and everything, but, like Ms. Spellman said, it would be nice to go out there and see how bright the light is. I don't even know till I get here what we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, I think, would be more prone to being here, if they knew. But
Okay. Thank you, Awana.
all right, let me print. This will take.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else? Okay, then we'll go ahead and close public comment. And at this time, we'll step into the good of the order. And this evening, we will start with Council Member Malama.
First of all, I want to commend the staff and Owen on a good job on the budget. That's a lot of work, putting those numbers together, crunching them, and then to have people look over your numbers. It's sort of like when I look in the checkbook and ask my wife what she wrote a check for, it doesn't always go over well. So anyway, I commend you and your staff. But good job, excellent job. I want to mention that the Career Expo, I'm going to hold it up and I'll pass it around, and I believe Mr. Adams said it would be on our website we can put up. It's coming up May 13th, and manufacturing, retailing, health occupation areas, employers will be invited out at the Career Tech Center. This will be the second one. We did one last year, and it was extremely successful. Many of the students were hired right on the spot. And so I want to pass that around, and I definitely want to thank the CTC staff for preparing the students and the manufacturers. I expect that we'll probably get at least 20 to 25 manufacturers in the area, all the way down from the Tustin area, all the way up into Manton, and of course our own industrial park. So definitely pass that around, and it will be on the website. And Jerry, Issues Over Coffee will be coming up again, I believe, on the 14th of May. Am I correct?
That's right.
And we haven't determined a location.
It'll be on, somewhere in the downtown.
Be in the downtown area. And we do get it out on the city, or out in the newspaper, and it is on the web too?
Yes.
Okay, so we will have it on the web too. So,
I'm sorry.
all right? Okay, thank you.
First, Mayor, just thank you for I appreciate those 2 work sessions and the time that we had to communicate, as Councilmember Mellema said, with the department heads and as a council. I appreciate the time and having the time for the interaction. And I do hope, I think we should really, as I mentioned in there, really look at the appropriation side and get a better understanding of that as a council, so that it's not, I think there's confusion sometimes for all of us, of when is it micromanaging and when is it responsible leadership as council members, just to kind of get a better understanding of that. Wanted to thank Councilmember Spolman. I know that, I don't know how many years now you've served on the Lake Mitchell Improvement Board. You may not know either how many years, but you have, I know that 4 years, and you're serving on it as a council member, and that goes unnoticed. As we were talking in there about the condition of Lake Cadillac, I know they're tied together, and I know that at this time of year it probably your committee gets a little more involved, so I wanted to thank you for your time you've had on that committee as well.
Thanks.
Councilmember Shippers.
I don't have a lot, since we've already thanked staff and Owen and for the budget and each other. I like the discourse and conversation, and asking questions and is a really good part of governing, and I like that. Also, I want to, for everybody else, remember, as the weather gets better, there are more people walking, there are more people on bicycles and out and about, so pay attention not just to the headlights coming towards you, but to the little flashing green light that is my husband coming home on his bicycle. And all the other cyclists and pedestrians out there. Thanks.
Councilmember.
Yeah, we did have a Lake Mitchell Improvement Board meeting last week, so thanks for reminding me of that. I'm trying to remember what I should report from that. A lot of it is just gearing up for that treatment period, and it's been an interesting year. Everybody knows that, with record low temperatures and really deep, thick ice. So it's like, none of the experts, the limnologists, anyone who works in the field knows what to expect this year and how it's going to affect the weed growth, native as well as non-native. So, and we also don't know what the rest of the spring is going to look like in terms of how fast it's going to warm up. So it'll be really interesting to see what we have this summer with the lake. We'll keep you posted on that. Mayor Filkins and I attended the Cadillac Area Visitors Bureau annual meeting last week, and I'm glad that we did that. That was really nice.
That's good.
They gave away awards to 2 different groups in the community. Both of them are groups that are involved with trail maintenance. The first one was for the volunteers who set track at the Cadillac Pathways in the winter for cross-country skiing. Roger Hopkins and Jim Neff and Jerry Nilsson and Dave Westmus all received an award along with the folks from the Career Tech Center who partner with them on that. You know, they do that all winter, in a really cold winter this past year, as volunteers. So I'm glad they got the recognition that they did, as well as the Cadillac Winter Promotions Group, who keep all of the trails groomed in the area for snowmobiling. So that was really nice. The Rotary auction is coming up this Saturday. It's at the new event center out on the west side of town at the old Bill Oliver's area. I have tickets for sale if anyone is interested. And proceeds from the Rotary auction will once again go towards the renovation of the Rotary Performing Arts Pavilion and the restrooms in that area. So any donations that you have for that would really be appreciated. And that's all I have.
Marcus.
Couple of quick things. One, I wanted to mention 2 phone numbers. Should anybody have experienced any kind of property damage due to the flooding, the county has set up 2 reporting lines to identify where you're at and the type of damage that you experienced. One number is 231-779-9460, and the other number is 231-779-9507, and I would certainly encourage you to call and report if you do experience any damage. Additionally, wanted to mention also that the city will be participating in the Career Expo. The Councilmember Melma had mentioned it'll be our 2nd year doing it. We have a little poster board that we had made up, I believe it was last year, talking about what the city provides and sort of that kind of career track. And we'll have our fire marshal there, a number of our police department there as well, talking about some of the services that they provide additionally. So that'll be a good opportunity. And lastly, just wanted to mention, whether or not anyone else had noticed, I noticed that although we are finally sort of defrosted, I think we've had snow off of our parkways now for maybe a week, maybe a week and a half. I want to say thank you, especially to Public Works and the Parks. They have already gotten the decorations off of the city parkways from the holidays, which I mean, I think literally the day things defrosted, we had a crew out there pulling that stuff out. So, so thank you, and for obviously all their hard work. That being said, it's still very soggy, so be careful.
Yes, it is. We forgot some.
Okay, well, I would like to mention a couple of things. I would second a lot of the things that you have already brought up this evening. I think that our discussion in the work sessions has been very, very good. And, you know, not any one of us always has the answers, but I think that by asking the questions and entering into some good discussions about things, we're going to find the place that we would like to be. So thank you all very much. I also wanted to share and remind people that the Right to Life dinner is over at the, I can't think of the name of the center over by Lake City, on Monday evening. Timberwolf, thank you. Yes, that is coming up on Monday evening if anybody's interested in going to that. And then also Earth Day in the park on April 27th from 2 to 5. If you would like to come down and enjoy what I'm hoping is going to be a really sunny afternoon down in the city park. So I think that's it then.
I just wanted to mention, I think it might be here because of the weather, unless something has changed.
On Sunday?
Oh, you know what?
No,
Sorry,
Friday
Arbor
is
Day.
Arbor Day. That is here.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Run water still on.
Okay.
Might be coming off but for the moment, it's still on, and we will definitely advertise when it's over.
Okay, all right. Did you have something else, Sherry?
Marcus, can you address the agenda issue that was raised?
Our agendas are made available Thursday, as soon as they're made available for city council. They're only available at that point in paper form. We have an online agenda center that is basically put online, I think, Owen, when? The day of the agenda, or the day of the meeting?
Well, there's 2 slots on the website, and one was live as of about just before 9 this morning, and I looked on the main agenda page, and we put it on at 4:49 p.m. So typically those are available at least first thing Monday morning. So I would just suppose coming back from a holiday, we just didn't do it until a little bit later today. So we'll make sure we continue to work at getting that available as early
But
as
if
possible.
somebody wants to know what's on the agenda or to get a copy of the agenda, certainly the Friday before a meeting, we would have that ready available, and you can come here and pick one up or have one printed out, so.
It used to, I used to be able to, I get it through, the council web thing. On Thursday, is there any reason why, because it's pretty finalized by then, is there any reason why it can't go up Thursday or Friday before the meeting?
You're talking about the council website?
Yeah, no, I mean on the website, to put the agenda on the website, is there, because we get a paper copy on Thursday. Would it be possible, instead of waiting till Monday to put it on Thursday or Friday?
We can try to get it on Friday. It really depends on how quick we get it all finalized on Thursday. Sometimes it's right at the end of the day, and it takes time to download and upload. That's part of the issue.
Okay.
Well, even if we could get it up there on Friday, then
It'd be great to get it on Friday.
But we're not talking about all the attachments, we're just talking about the agenda for the public.
Right.
Well, it should be.
Right, we should be able to do that.
Would you do that, I think, because we've heard this a few times from folks.
And I think people would be understanding if something got bumped into it, that at the beginning of the meeting, we would just let them know that the agenda's being updated.
Amended.
Yeah. That'd be great, if that's not.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, at this time then, we will adjourn to go into closed session. Marcus, would you like to?
Sure.
Or I can read it if you'd like me to.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
The requested motion is to adjourn into a closed session and discuss a confidential written legal opinion with the city attorney, and to discuss specific pending civil litigation in the case of William S. Barnett in his capacity as mayor of the city of Cadillac versus Jim Blackburn, case number 11-23578-CZ.
Can we have a
I will make that motion to go into closed session for those purposes.
support? Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Spolman?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Malama?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. We have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Stevens? Malama?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Spolman?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. Marcus, could you give us an update from the closed session?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. At this time, it would be appropriate to consider a motion with respect to following the recommendation by the city attorney as discussed in the closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Malama?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Spolman?
Yes.
Stevens? Mayor Filkins?
Yes. So at this point, we'll adjourn the meeting.